Please join me in welcome Jerry Abramson.
Hey, NACo, that's got to be Kentucky over there. All right, it pays to have been a county executive in Kentucky, and it also pays to know where our crowd is sitting. So it's great to be here. It is exciting to be with all of you today, and I bring you a welcome from the White House to men and women who are out there every day on the line making things happen. Whether you're working on creating jobs, whether you're working on supporting and making sure the potholes are filled or the roads are repaired, whether you're working with your health departments or delivering services through your social service organizations, whether you're working on public health or public enforcement, public safety, you guys and gals make things happen, and it's my pleasure to be here representing the White House to say thank you for what you do, to remind some folks in this room who might not have remembered that a lot of folks have been really helping and working with us, and we've been working with you to make some significant things happen. But it's got to be done at the local level, and it's got to be devised, and it's got to be developed, and it's got to be delivered at the local level. And that's what this White House believes in, and I know as a former county official and a former city official, the local level is where the action is, and I suspect you agree with me. I suspect. This president is very focused on creating jobs and developing an opportunity for the middle class to grow and to expand. And all the things that we've been about and the work we've done with you, literally hand in glove with you, has been focused in that direction. And if you don't think you're important, you know, not only do you have the Secretary of Defense here today, not only will you later have the Secretary of Transportation, but as I said to you back in January when we met together, that we were going to begin to have monthly phone calls where you could get on and you could talk to the Secretary of Transportation. And we had such a phone call, and over several hundred of you were on that call and were able to engage. We also had, the next month, we had a conversation with the director of the Office of Management and Budget. That's the person that controls the purse strings. And you all, again, we put the word out, you joined that conference call, and we were able to literally provide opportunities for you to ask questions, to engage, to learn, to listen, and then to push back on issues that you thought were important for counties. And you know, some good things have been going on. I was looking at the statistics the other day. It's now been 64 straight months in the United States of America, 64 straight months where private sector jobs have increased, now totaling 12.8 million jobs created in our counties, cities, and states throughout the union. We've got 16 million more people that for the first time for themselves and their families have health insurance. We have more kids graduate. Yeah, I'll take that. I think that's important. We have more kids graduating from high school and more kids graduating from college than we've had in decades in this country, setting new records for our young people to get through the K through 12 and then on through college. And all this has been going on, just in case you missed it, all this has been going on while reducing the deficit of the United States of America by 2/3. Let me say that again, reducing the deficit of America by 2/3. Now, we've been working on trying to do everything we can for the middle class, and you all have been working with us. We began focusing on the issue of 43 million people in this country do not have paid leave, meaning if they're sick leave, which means if they're sick, they've got to decide whether they can afford to stay home, if they have a sick child, whether they can decide to stay home with their child, whether they have a sick parent, whether they can afford to stay home with the parent. 43 million people in the United States of America. And now, 19 communities throughout the United States, 5 states throughout the United States, including Oregon, which just signed on the other day, and Montgomery County, which just passed an ordinance that provides employees with paid sick leave, have that opportunity to make that decision. We need more counties to join in that. We need to protect the men and women that work with you and provide for you and provide for the citizens, and to do that when there's someone ill in their family and give them a chance to be able to provide and support it. The same thing on minimum wage. 17 states, over 27 cities and counties have moved forward on minimum wage. Counties like Santa Fe County, Arizona, Prince George County out in Missouri have all stepped forward. And when you talk about affordable care and the 16 million people that have been signed up thus far, we couldn't have done it with counties like Dallas County in Texas or Milwaukee County in Wisconsin, where the commissioners and the county judge and county execs stood up, went out, and found the folks who could sign up and provide inexpensive health care for themselves and their families. We're now working on training. We've got to make sure that the kids of today are prepared for the jobs of tomorrow. And preschool is a big issue this president believes in and strongly focuses on, and tries to get cities and counties and states, as well as the federal government, to help those early childhood to make those early childhood investments to ensure that there's an opportunity for those kids to be ready for the first grade. And just recently, the executive out in Salt Lake County stepped up and joined with the J.B. Pritzker and the Goldman Sachs organization to launch the first ever effort to finance public preschool through the sale of social impact bonds. The first time that's happened in the United States, and it was a county in Salt Lake that stepped up to be able to do that. Congratulations. And Utah must be over here. You guys ought to look into that opportunity for those type of social bonds that will provide early childhood. Same thing happened in terms of tech hire. There are a lot of jobs going open in the United States of America, and the president rolled out several months ago an idea of creating a chance for people to go and have a 3, 4, 5-month coding boot camp where you learn to code. Jobs pay $38,000, $39,000. We now have over 21 cities and counties and states that have become tech hire cities. The most recent one was Buffalo County in Nebraska, joining with the city of Kearney, Nebraska, who are partnering to be able to deliver that process. We want to double that number. So if there are folks in here from counties that have need for IT trained people, and you're ready to work with us, we'll make the effort to ensure that you have the chance to be able to take folks in a 6 or 8 month period, be able to have the IT skills necessary to take those jobs. We're also looking, while we're creating jobs and trying to develop opportunities for the middle class to be able to have a better life, we're also trying to make this country safer. And thanks to so many of you counties that have joined with us in My Brother's Keeper, which is a program that focuses on at-risk young men and gets them involved so that they are an asset in our society rather than a liability. And counties like Fulton County and counties like the LA County supervisors that have stepped up, and counties like Santa Clara County in California that developed an expanded summer job program for at-risk kids. That's where you can really plug in and make a difference to support the efforts of those kids to ultimately be assets in your community. And ultimately, when you stop and think about homelessness, and you heard from the leader of the Department of Defense, veterans homelessness is an issue that the First Lady rolled out several years ago, and we have got more counties and cities working on developing game plans to be able to end veteran homelessness. Those guys and gals gave of themselves so that we're here today with our freedom, and it's time for us in cities and counties to be able to step up and help them in their time of need. And I'll go with that. Thanks to counties like Lane County in Oregon, Santa Cruz County in California, Arlington County in Virginia, who have signed up to end veteran homelessness and then begun to develop the programs that the First Lady has challenged them to develop. And the most recent leadership in Orange County in Florida, working with all the cities to do what needs to be done for the veterans. Or Forsyth County, where the commissioners, together with the city of Winston-Salem, literally set up a track to end veteran homelessness in their community and lead North Carolina in that area. And in Houston, where Houston joined with Harrison County, where you literally have recently launched a whole new model to be able to ensure that every veteran who comes into that Harrison County community that needs help will get help yesterday, today, and they now have a process to be able to do it in the future. That's the kinds of things, those are the kinds of issues that we have been working with you, with your guidance, with your approach. We've been trying to support and allow you to do what's necessary and to tailor the programs and the challenges to the folks in your community. Now we look at what's going to happen in the future. And as you heard from your president, and as the focus of this NACo organization has been for the last year, it is infrastructure. We have got to get an infrastructure bill to ensure that multi-year sufficient funding handles the roads. I mean, how many of you could give me off the top of your head 10 projects just like that, that if given the opportunity for roads and new expansion, you'd be able to use and expand and become a real leader in your community? You know every one of you could do that. Well, we got to do something in that area of infrastructure. People say, well, I want a Tiger grant. You remember Tiger grants? The president's budget proposed doubling the amount of money in Tiger grants. The most recent Appropriations Committee on the House, in the United States House of Representatives, cut the existing Tiger grant by 80%. 80%. Now, that means everybody who's gotten a Tiger grant and everybody who's got one pending and everyone who hopes to have a major infrastructure investment Tiger grant, if 80% of what we spend today is cut from that budget, the bottom line is you're not going to have a chance. So we've got to talk to our congressmen. We've got to talk to our senators about the importance to counties of having the type of Tiger grants, the type of grants that are necessary to ensure you have Head Start in your county, to be able to support those young children, get them off the ground and get them ready for the first grade, to make sure that you have the homeless assistant grant. Heck, there was a $10 million homeless assistant grant that went to King County just in January. Those are all being cut, all being cut. And what is the villain? Who is the villain? How do you know the real problem in what's happening on Capitol Hill today? The answer is the word sequestration. Because if you say to yourself, yes, we need to increase the Tiger grant funding, or yes, we need to increase the homelessness funding, or yes, we need to increase the education funding, because of sequestration, which several years ago, as you remember, was that draconian, literally draconian approach that nobody in their right mind in the House and the Senate would ever allow to occur. And so therefore, they would certainly resolve all the financial issues facing this country, because they would never want a 10, 15, 20% cut across the board. Well, guess what? They didn't get it done. And that draconian approach called sequestration kicked in last year. And you say to yourself, well, I don't remember the pain of last year. That's because of Congressman Ryan in the House and Senator Murray in the Senate came together and developed an approach that pushed it back a year. But this is the sequestration year. This is the time when 10 and 15 and 20% are going to be just lopped off across the board. You find a successful business in this country that literally develops their budget by cutting 20% off every area in their business. And you're not going to find a very successful business. Well, that's where we are, folks. And when you hear from Secretary Carter, and when you read in the paper about the cutbacks in military and the potential closures in the military bases, and you scratch your head trying to understand why, sequestration. President Obama has submitted a budget that breaks the ceiling of sequestration for both the military to bring it up to defend us, as well as the domestic side, to be sure we have investments in roads, investments in bridges, investments in education, investments in workforce training. We need your help, that your congressmen and senators understand that sequestration, receiving the term draconian cuts, is not acceptable in this country for the future of ourselves, our families, and our children. And we need to move forward in a way that will bring this country together, develop the kind of funding that we need, ensure that we have the kind of accountability that is required, and the personal responsibility that individuals have to bring to the table. But you put all that together, if we can't break through the ceiling, the caps of sequestration, all the cuts that I rattled off, and I could go on and on, are simply going to happen. And it's going to be done to you and to the people you serve and the people you represent. So help us if you can. Call on us if you can. When you see a conference call is coming up once a month, we'll be there on the line with a cabinet secretary or an agency director to answer questions. We want you to be involved with us, and we certainly want to be involved with you. That's why I, as a former county executive, I, as a former mayor, I, as a former lieutenant governor, appreciate what you do. We'll be there for you each and every day. This president supports the local dynamic of what you're about. We'll be there for the next year and a half and look forward to working with you. Thank you so very much.